Lord, grant me the serenity to understand the things I cannot change. Grant me the courage to change the things that I can. And grant me the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today. Amen. Away from me.
You close to the edge, just don't move. My brother said his lawyer just gave him some bad news.
In this special Love and Impact series, we will hear from key stakeholders at Rise Charter School. And throughout the show, you will hear from the blonde bombshell herself, A. Ruth Proctor of the Proctor Report, with special interviews. Enjoy the show.
If I can fly, let me mingle with the angels. Heaven's in my peripheral, I see it from an angle.
What's up, good people? Welcome. It's your boy, Bro Troy.
Bro Smith.
Bro Kurt.
And we are the Bro Code. The Bro Code TV show was created to share unique, creative stories that amplify the voices of others, speak life into our community, and celebrate the humane side of humanity. The code is a set of standards or values a person lives by. The code sets the tone for how we treat all people, starting with ourselves. The code matures into the Bro Code when we're fortunate enough to find men that share those same values and standards. Tonight's show is sponsored by Angel Oak Creative. Tonight we're celebrating 10 years of love and impact in the community. And this episode is focusing on nonprofits that travel in the education and youth development space. If you're just checking into the Bro Code show, make sure to like and share this post, not now, fellas, but when? Right now. We appreciate those who have already supported the Bro Code platform, but please make sure to help us grow our platform by telling a friend, sharing our YouTube page, Spotify platform, and Apple Podcast platform. So fellas, I'm curious, man. Here we are, we're in the school this time, hold on. Another one.
That's right.
But this time we're in a school, man, and what makes us different is every time you see the show, you never know where we'll be. So as we celebrate, as your shirt says, love and impact, the question for this show is, what was maybe one of or a memorable TV show that had schools in it, or a show that celebrated schools and education?
Wow, I'm gonna have to go with Different World. That was the first time where you kind of saw, HBCUs and the coolness. Hillman. Yeah. So definitely, and all the characters.
Yeah. Good spin-off and good reflective representation. Yeah. It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
Actually, that's where I got the Sinbad was one of the, and I can't remember in what season, but I think he played the RA, if I remember.
That's right.
I had a cockatiel, and that was my mom's favorite comedian, and then that's what I named the bird, right? And I was first introduced to him on that show.
I don't think I've ever met a brother with a cockatoo before.
Cockatiel, hold on, let's get it right now. And everything, man. Right. Let you know when he was mad and all the hiss to everything, And he whistled. I taught him to whistle so when women walk by, he goes,
oh.
Yeah, he's smart. He was smart, bro. Smart bird.
Okay, you got a perv cockatiel.
He was a little fresh.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
Indeed. How about you, man?
For me, man, it goes back to Saved by the Bell. Zach Morris was my guy.
I was about to say, which one were you? Right. Were you Slater? Were you Zach?
I wished I could be AC Slater.
Okay.
Yeah,
he was All-American in everything.
He knew he couldn't be, so he's like, no, I
was always a cool guy.
I
Give me
was
the
somewhere
shade.
between Screech and AC Slater growing up, so I'm gonna go with Zach.
Yeah. Well, I've always been a rebel. Sometimes one before now, one without a cause. So I got to go with my man Bart Simpson and the Simpsons, right? So that was one of the shows, man. A little bit mischievous too. So I can always see some of the things that he did. Maybe I even tried to. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Simpsons.
Classic.
Indeed, classic. They said if they were doing an updated version, Bart would probably be about 40. So beer belly.
I remember when that first came out.
Indeed, right? And they're still showing reruns. They still getting paid off.
I think they still got new episodes.
Too.
Really?
Oh yeah, they going strong.
Oh wow.
They still predicting the world too.
They spot on too.
We're not even gonna go there on that one, right? I think that's an episode all by itself. All about tell live vision, but we'll leave it there. Anyway, all great things are a collective effort. They happen from a collective effort. Tonight's no different. As we walk into this Love and Impact series and talk about education and youth development, we are right here at Rise Southeast Raleigh Charter School, right? What's the name of the community? Idlewild? Is it Idlewild? Right next to the upper room, right? So, and just talking about the great work that's going on here. So I think tonight we have the executive director. I think she's around here somewhere. Where's Dawn at?
She's somewhere.
Is Dawn in here? I think she's in here. Come on. Hey! What up, Dawn? Welcome. How you doing? Welcome to the Bro Code Show.
Thanks for having me.
Indeed. Well, welcome. More than welcome to sit down, and we're glad to have you on the Bro Code Show. We're glad to really have this conversation, right? When we talk about love and impact, education and youth are near and dear to our heart with the work that we do in the community. So looking forward to it. So I'm curious, for everyone that's looking, listening, watching, and everything in between, run me your resume in 90 seconds or less. Let the people know who Dawn Arthur is.
Oh, who Dawn Arthur is on my resume are different questions.
But
I'll answer your first one first. I spent some time in the government consulting world, about 6 years in database programming and government consulting. That was after graduating as an engineer from the University of Virginia.
Okay.
After consulting and systems engineering for some time, I went to Duke's Fuqua School of Business, where I concentrated in social impact. Spent some time in that world. Love Duke. Go Blue Devils. And then from that, I moved to KIPP, Eastern North Carolina, where I spent 6 years as the chief operating officer for a growing network of charter schools in Halifax and Northampton County, and then Durham County. After that, 2019, I came here as the executive director for RISE.
All right, awesome, extensive resume. Oh yeah, education is in the blood, clearly, right?
It is.
Virginia, is that the Cavaliers?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, just wondering. So, but while we get into this conversation, I always try to keep it light. So, education obviously runs in the blood, but if you weren't educating the babies, what is the secret passion? What is it that you would be doing if you weren't doing this?
Oh man, secret passion, going back to probably childhood dreams. Marine biologist.
Okay.
I love science. I love science and math. I did engineering.
Yeah.
I also love animals and shaping the environment and the world. So I don't really know what that career involves.
Yeah.
But in my head, it seems really cool.
Yeah. Science, whatever
Science,
it is. Yeah,
science,
all the way.
Animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. I got one more for you. We're in an elementary school. I talked about Bart Simpson. I was a little mischievous, you ain't got to tell the world about all your endeavors. I get it. Keep the skeletons in the closet. But what type of child were you in elementary school?
I was a goody two-shoes.
Really? Yeah, you had the pigtails and all that good stuff?
I followed I was a tomboy goody two-shoes. So I wore sweatpants and sweatshirt almost every day of elementary school.
Yeah.
Cared about my friends. Learned to play basketball with the boys. Did what I was told in school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dawn Arthur.
Yeah.
All right. Elementary. Last but not least, I got one more for you. Ready? Do you have a favorite school-based TV show?
I do. Yes. Animated, it's fine. You went with Bart Simpson, so X-Men. Does that count?
The school.
School?
Yes. They do. Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah.
I love superhumans. I love superpowers. I like the idea of a school where you get to practice all the time. Fail, succeed, save the world, meet lots of crazy individuals. I think that sounds super fun.
Well, you done took me down a rabbit hole now, right? Because you started talking about superheroes. Right? You already know I'm going to ask. Well, who's your favorite of the X-Men? I knew you were going to say Storm. Yeah, why Storm?
Why Storm? She's powerful, strong. She controls the weather, flies. I mean, what more could you want out of a superhero?
She's awesome, yeah. And she was beautiful, too.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Whoever played her.
Yeah, all of them.
Indeed, especially Holly. Was it Holly? It was Holly. Yeah. Let's move forward, right? I'm going to go down another road. Let's chew the meat and spit out the bone, man. What you got?
Well, thank you, first off. It's a pleasure to get an opportunity to talk to you. I'm hoping you could tell us a little bit more about your background, and more specifically, what got you from being an engineer at Northrop Grumman to executive director of a charter school? What was that journey like?
Yeah. I loved the work that I did. So I everyone here who knows me knows I love data, I love science, I love math. I was turned to those fields by a high school teacher, actually. So I did love the work that I was doing to serve those environments and those clients. But I was increasingly unhappy with the what I was supporting. I felt a little at a loss for being a small thing in a big cog in shipbuilding. And then when I was in consulting, I felt a little closer to clients and the impact, but still, you could still throw a consultant's work on a shelf and be done with it. And I felt far away from impact. So I went back to business school to focus in on, we were talking earlier about collective impact. What can be done with partnerships? How can we solve problems across sectors? That's what I went to study. That's what I was interested in. And the one moment that got me there, if I had to clarify it, one moment, I spent some time in the Duke Divinity School's Center for Reconciliation. So they hosted a week-long event that I hope they still host through their Center for Reconciliation. And I found myself sitting around pacifists and peacemakers and organizers. And I found myself sitting in the seat of defense contractor, and I felt out of place. And I wondered, how was I contributing to this reconciling, restorative work? And I wasn't, was my answer. So after that week-long experience, I started thinking about how to pivot, but I didn't know to what. I think at Fuqua, I got to be exposed to a lot of different fields and a lot of different people doing a lot of amazing things. But really, education found me. I saw a role. I saw that it was in Eastern North Carolina. I saw that it was growing schools. And I honestly thought, how many people in my class are going to go after this job in Eastern North Carolina? Nobody. Yeah. Not to say I'm not qualified. I think I was. But it was all very unique. And I thought, let me go explore what impact looks like in this place and in this role. And once I got there, I became a believer in what was actually happening through the school and within the kids' and families' lives. And so I would say for the last 9 years, every year has taught me how powerful it is to be an educator and work in that environment.
Yeah. I applaud you for being comfortable in your own skin and willing to take that step. Rise Academy of Southeast Raleigh Charter School, you got here in what, 2019?
Yes.
Right before the world kind of shut down.
Yes.
I'm hoping you could tell me a little bit about what that experience was like, as well as just the school in itself. What's the makeup of the children? A little bit about the staff. What could you tell us?
It's testing all of my vulnerabilities. Yeah, I see that. It was really hard. It was really jarring. I think joining the school and becoming a part of the organization that is Rise today was easy. The school and the people and the scholars and the families, I was very drawn to this place and this school to be a part of this community. That was easy. The work that came after that with COVID, I think for everyone, but I'll speak for myself, has just been incredibly challenging. We're held accountable for results and outcomes, and everyone in our building feels deep commitment to our scholars' learning, and are we making the impact that we want to see and that they want to see for themselves? And then you try to do that in an environment where everything is shifting daily. I think I mentioned earlier, it felt like a decision cycle was needed every 6 weeks. And none of it had to do with education. All of it had to do with keeping everybody safe. Right. And as we talk about at Rise, you have to feel safe and then connected to be able to learn anything. So our entire focus for 2 years was primarily on how to create safety, how to connect remotely, and now we're back in the space of doing all of those and learning.
Yeah. And the school itself serves what population? Is it K through 8th?
K to 8. We're going to serve 8th grade next year, so currently we're K to 7. It's around 420 scholars. Our scholars are beautiful, they're powerful, they're eager to learn. We believe that all students can learn and want to learn. In terms of the demographic makeup, we're about 72% African American, 22% Latinx, 3% white, and the rest is 2 or more races in our environment. We have 13% students who identify as exceptional children, and then approximately the same percentage as English language learners as well. So that's our makeup. And I know that's what we need to talk about and a part of who we are. I just want to lead with, we're all amazing learners who are here to rise up, rise together, rise above. That's what we believe.
Yeah. I like the artwork all around me. Now, I know you can't pick a favorite necessarily, but are there some that you're like, oh man, this could go for like $500,000.
Oh gosh, can you imagine the coup that would happen if I named one?
He's setting you up.
Yeah. They're all beautiful babies.
They're all
scholars.
wonderful.
Understand.
This is even new. So this, I'm not answering your question cleverly, I hope. But
you're doing a good job.
Thank you. This is all new as of this year, insofar as being back in our building and having access to visual art and a teacher who's passionate about visual art. So kids, for the first time ever at Rise, are getting access to representing themselves through art. And so I'm really proud of that and their work. It's their work.
My favorite class growing up. My last question, and I'll turn it over to you. Enrollment. So for those that are wondering, how can I have my child possibly be a part of Rise Academy? What would you tell them? What are the steps that they would need to go through?
I would say come to our school. You can find on our website, risese.org, a tab for enrollment. You would go on K-8 where we have seats in every grade level, fewer in the upper grades, mostly in kindergarten. That's important to know. And you would simply apply, but apply is a misnomer because there's no tuition, there's no merit-based entry. We are a public charter school. Once you apply and go through the acceptance process, if you're accepted, then we would start to enroll you. If we have no seats available, then you go on our wait list. We already had our lottery in March. All charter schools are required to have a lottery for any interest that's not able to be filled by seats. So again, you'd get on our wait list, but we would love you to consider us and check it out.
Yeah, love it. Well, we're right here with Dawn Arthur. We're at Southeast. We're right here with Dawn Arthur. We're at Rise, Southeast Raleigh Charter School with the Bro Code. We'll be right back.
Since I never had a shot, God threw me the alley-oop. I believe I can fly. Let me mingle with the angels. Heaven's in my...
We'll be right back on the Bro Code Show after a brief word from our sponsors. We all we got. Tonight's show is sponsored by Angel Oak Creative. The number one mission of Angel Oak Creative is to amplify the voice of nonprofit organizations through marketing, branding, digital design, and multimedia strategies, providing their clients with a proven strategy for success. Angel Oak Creative is currently celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Love and Impact. Angel Oak Creative has been blessed to partner with hundreds of nonprofit organizations who are changing the world by taking on difficult issues like homelessness, addiction, hunger, poverty, education, and also living with developmental disabilities and so much more.
This is Avery Proctor here with the Bro Code and the Proctor Report. I am at Rise Southeast Charter School here with the Executive Director, Dawn Arthur. How you doing today?
I'm good.
It's so good to be here.
Thank
you
you
so
for
much
joining
for
us.
having us here. So tell us, I know being a female in the leadership role, it has its challenges. How have you really maneuvered being a mom in a leadership role?
The hardest question.
You got it.
Being the mom and the leader.
Yes.
I love my kids and I love the kids at the school.
Yeah.
I find that I'm a better version of myself at home by working here.
Yes.
I do think I have work to do in terms of creating a better balance for myself at home.
Right.
Because I tend to invest heavily here.
Yeah.
But learning there and learning here makes me better at both.
Definitely code switching.
Yep.
Yeah. And being a mom, it helps you be a better, leader, because you're a leader every day.
I was talking today with some staff around some discipline and conscious discipline we want to put in place here at school.
Right.
And I was using my own kids as the tough example of things I need to work on in myself.
I got you.
To be better.
I love it. So behind us you have an array of pictures. I love art. So look, this is right up my alley. What were the kids doing? What was the whole picture of the pictures that's up here?
This is a menagerie across all of our schools. I think we've got lower grades and upper grades here.
Wow.
We hired a visual art teacher this year, and she has worked with the scholars to place art all throughout the school.
I love it. Amazing.
So as you walk the halls later, you'll see lots of representations from mixed media to watercolor to
wow.
Other mediums that are in place.
Wow.
I can't pretend to be an expert there either.
Hey,
but
I love
she
it.
is.
So in this space of leadership, and you know, women have really been busting doors down when it comes to leadership. How has that been challenging with your male cohorts or colleagues?
Yeah, male colleagues here are fantastic.
Good. That's a blessing.
I don't see a challenge from them. Sometimes I hear, well, this school really needs a male, or this place really needs a male, and I believe, and I truly believe that comes out of great intention around wanting to represent all kinds of people here. So I always receive that as positive, if you will, and nothing against me. Women in leadership, I think there's something I've probably not even evaluated enough about what do I need to become and how can I best serve. So I want to examine myself in that role and make sure I'm modeling what I want to see from any of our scholars, men or women. But in terms of the colleagues, men or women, I feel nothing but embrace.
That's amazing. It's amazing to be supported.
It is.
And to have that, you know, and I think also with you being a mom, you got that piece that a lot, you know, you don't really have if you're not a mom. So you can really like nurture and support them in this space as being a leader. So, you know, definitely, and even other moms that might have issues, you know, in the classroom, kids might not have clothes, shoes, you know, I know you guys deal with all of that. So, you know, is there anything in particular resource-wise that would really support the community and you guys here that we should tell people about?
I think we need tons of things. So we had some folks bring in shoes. Pay for uniforms. Backpacks. Volunteers. I think since COVID, there's more need, and we've been stalled in terms of accessing the community because we've been intentionally trying to stay away from each other for 2 years.
Sad but true.
Sad but true. And so I think we are in a moment where we need to reach out further and invite folks in.
I love it.
And there are plenty of people that want to invest into a school like ours, a school in general.
Definitely, we'll love to support. So, to COVID into 2022, with the mask restriction lifting, you have any concerns when it comes to that?
COVID makes me feel PTSD as soon as you say it, because education was for 2 years a new decision every 6 weeks. That had to be a lot. Oh my God. It was a lot, and it's still being felt. So I don't want anyone to feel like it's over.
That's true.
We're still unpacking what it did. To learning,
teachers,
educators, trauma, all of it. So I think we're still exploring that. As I think about the future, I think we have best practices to lean on. From the last 2 years. And I think we will know better how to handle it. But I'm hoping that we can stay safe. With masks down and in the building.
I love it. Well, shout out to a female leader, here in Southeast Raleigh, doing amazing things and really continuing to build our community and beyond. This is Avery Proctor with the Proctor Report.
Things I cannot change. Grant me the courage to change the things that I can, and grant me the wisdom to know the difference, just for today.
We're back on the Bro Code Show. We've got Dawn Arthur. We're at Rise, Southeast Raleigh Charter School, and we are here with the Love and Impact series sponsored by Angel Oak. What you got, bro?
So, Dawn, before the break, you were mentioning how it's important for students to first feel safe to learn, but also be connected. Can you share with us, because I really believe that any student in the right environment can excel in the things we're teaching them. So how does Rise achieve that first safe piece and that connection piece?
We were just talking about this today. You know, the brain is so amazing, and I don't know all the systems. This is not science I learned, but there are 3 systems. One where you're focused on safety, one where you're focused on connection, and one, I'm making this up, where you're focused on executive functioning and learning, right? And I think one of the first things that Rise does is we talk about that as adults so that we can self-regulate and train ourselves to be responsive, informative, and model what we want to see from the scholars. So it's when you ask the question of what do we want, how do we create safety, I think is what I heard. I think part of that response for me is, are we modeling a deep breath? Are we modeling composure? Are we modeling empathy? Are you feeling seen, heard? If the answers to those questions are yes, then I think we've got a better chance of the scholars then feeling safe and responding and acting safely. You know, I could talk about all the things that we do with COVID and routines and all of that, but I think I am reflecting as of this week a little more clearly on how are we engaging the world as adults and how are we modeling for our scholars safety. I think the same is true of that emotional connectivity piece. How are we, what rituals are we setting up for ourselves as adults? What rituals are we setting up for kids? Are we talking about our school family? Do kids know how to talk to each other about what they want to see from each other? You know, creating a space for their voice and their own advocacy so that they are growing those skills of connection and leadership. We had our staff return today for a work day, and then our first activity was a connection activity, because we've been away for a while, and it's hard before you go on spring break, right? Things get kind of heightened, and then you take a breath. Yeah. So we connected, and we spent some time there, and I want to see us learning, being expert learners, to then model, to then teach in our environment. So that's some of the response and some of the work that we're doing to then be able, for all of us in the space, to learn how to problem solve or to lead or to have discourse in class, to engage in productive ways. That's, I think, what we want to see.
So that sounds like a lot, Dawn. It really does. But I do agree with you. And we've been in a lot of buildings, and you can feel that the moment you walk in the building. Let me ask you this: as a leader from different levels, I'm sure you were taught all the things in business school and all these things, but you weren't taught how to lead during a pandemic. So how do you attack that when there was no course for that? There was no experience in that. Is it just the same way of leading, or was there something, a different model that you may have used during this time?
That's a question I'll probably spend years reflecting on.
And before you answer that, like, because this is something where the results may not show for years later, so.
And that response is probably true as a lead up as well, right? Probably every leadership moment I've ever has built towards that moment within the pandemic, and then being surrounded by a great board, a great team, great families, great scholars. I mean, we weathered this. It was so hard. But as a community, we were resilient and we came through it, and I loved that. I was able to lean on that and lean on others. My home life is really supportive. My partner is really supportive. And I think in that time and in all times, you need those people that can tell you you're going to be okay, and you're going to be able to do this, and you might not get it all right, and I'm still with you, you know. And so I feel like, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but that's some of what I believe to be true, is the supportive people in my life, the leadership moments prior to pandemic, and I probably will be reflecting on this for years to come, of all the things I could have and should have done differently. But I think, again, as a school, what I need to grow in, and what I want to see all of our community grow in, is celebrating each other and our successes more than focusing on everything that is imperfect.
I love it. Life is a team sport. We weren't made to live it alone, right? So some of the things that you speak of really resonate with me. Of all the words that you just spoke of, one buzzword that the fellas always talk about is a sense of accountability, right? Accountability being what you do when others aren't looking, right? The standard by which you hold yourself, the bro code. So I'm curious, one, how did you develop that mindset? Like, where in your path of education did that become very passionate and valuable to you? Because I could see it resonate not just through your tone, your countenance, but the way you responded. So, talk to us more about how that came passionate for you, and then how you use that to build your team that you talk about to be even stronger.
I I think we're still building. I think everyone's coming out of the in our space is coming out of the pandemic and asking a lot of new questions and thinking about how to reconnect with one another and lead forward. Why am I accountable? Oh my gosh. I think it kind of goes back to modeling what you want to see. I just don't think I can say something and not do it, and then ask others to do the thing that I've said and that I'm not doing. And I'm trying to reflect in this moment about where that's coming from. Maybe it's my faith, maybe it's my family, maybe it's great leaders I've been around, maybe it's all of the above. I want to be an authentic individual, and I think authenticity comes through integration and connection of oneself around doing and saying the same thing. I probably need to do some more, and everyone in the school would tell me this, more self-reflective work around not representing as a hero or not trying to do it all or not trying, those kinds of things.
The burdens of being a leader.
Right. Lean on the team more. Be imperfect.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
But I don't know. Those are probably some of the sources.
It's good to have that team around you. Like you talked about superheroes, none of them would be who they are if it wasn't for the team. Like, they're all dope individually, but collectively, oh man. Exactly. That's when the slow music starts to part. Hey, there you go. The music starts to change, right, when they come together. So, last but not least, one, they say laughter is food for the soul. One of my other favorite quotes is live life in moments, not minutes. So I'm curious, in the moments that you've had here at Rise, we talk about rising up, rising together, and rising above. What are one of those memorable ones, one of those things that kind of stick out, when you celebrate the babies and look at their laughter and that smile and who they believe themselves to be?
Oh gosh, we've had stories within our building when we get together as a staff team where we talked about kids who've grown multiple grade levels. We celebrate growth. We celebrate achievement. I think we're just jumping back into being able to do that after COVID in a stronger way. But I've literally seen people cry in this space as adults because they've seen so much growth within scholars that they've been teaching. Teachers who reach out to families on the regular, who provide things that the family needs on their own. Teachers and staff who lead programs like our STEP team or our basketball team or Passport to Manhood is a program we're doing right now. Dance, cheer. I think it's when I see staff and scholars connecting in ways that everyone wants to connect and learn. They're all supporting each other. That's huge and been really memorable, especially after COVID. We have these fun celebrations where scholars can earn dress down days, or we just celebrate dressed like someone in the school, and so you'll see kids running around looking like Mr. Smith or Coach China or Mr. Bate, and it's funny to see. It's adorable to see kids literally role modeling their heroes in this building.
Awesome. Did you have one more before we go, man? I'm just curious. I know we always talk about the community and how how can they support.
That is a good question. So I will ask you that. How can others contribute to what it is that you're trying to get accomplished here, either through their time, their money, or just the sharing of a word or two?
Yeah, the community is such a big word, right? We want to invite more people into our school. We want to connect more with our families. I was joking earlier with Kwan, who will come on later, around for 2 years, we all tried intentionally not to touch or be near anyone. Don't breathe on me, get away. We're doing remote. So everything within us was oriented around be away. And now we're trying to come toward, unite, come back and engage, So I think we have some work to do to invite people within our school, including families, the broader Southeast Raleigh community. We have a community day that's coming up on May 14th, 10 o'clock to 2 p.m., where we're just going to have fun and music and food and connect.
Awesome.
So please come on out to that. I think we're always open to more partnerships. You know, we've started a partnership with the community police here locally, mental health services, social services that are free and high quality. We love that. We would love to support all of those folks in our space. We would love to direct families to those resources outside of our space. And then I have plenty to say around what governments and other folks can do to support education, but I'll stick with those for now. Yeah.
And just so people can have the contact information, you know, what's the address here, the phone number, or maybe any other contact information you want the world to know so they can get in contact with you?
The school's phone number is 919-446-4777. The address is 3420 Idlewood Village Drive in the 27610 zip code.
Sir!
Yep.
I had to, my bad.
Come, just come. We'll be happy to talk.
Yeah, right here in Southeast Raleigh. So, Dawn, we did a little research. Yeah, we did, you know, and we saw some pictures. You used some really awesome words like accountability, kind, so on and so forth, really modeling. So that way those same characteristics could be shown in your students. Well, we saw that in a few pictures. So this picture segment, we want you to say who's in it, what they were doing, and basically why did you share it with the world? So we're going to start with that one.
That's one of our kindergartners displaying her diorama, which was a project they did in class. And so we wanted to show that off to the world because of our growing in class, our instructional representation of great things that we're doing instructionally.
It's funny, kindergarten, we met a young king earlier who was the spelling bee. That word always got me in spelling bees. Kindergarten?
Yeah. That was, I can see that's tricky, right?
Yeah, but he looked like he had no problem.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. You remember his bug word was smart. So
He did quite well.
I think he was going to knock that one out, indeed. What do you think about this one?
That picture was during one of our spirit weeks. Those are third graders with their teacher, some of them who probably tried to dress up like their teacher. This was for our Dress for Success week. We wanted to have an opportunity for our kids to dress in what they wanted to wear outside of a uniform and show us what their best looks like.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how about this one?
Those were two of our second graders, I believe, in reflecting their dress down passes after they earned that through some kind act during our kindness week. So they got to do something special for a special act of kindness.
That's a good one. We always say kindness is free, right? Putting other people's needs before your wants. That's pretty awesome. I love that. And how about this one?
And then that was a couple of our scholars saying thank you to teachers. We did a gratitude reflection right ahead of the fall break. And one of our staff went around the school capturing these photos of scholars saying thank you and saying sweet messages to their teachers.
I especially like the dress down day. I went to a Catholic school, and you come to school every day wearing pretty much of a variation of the same outfit. So for them to possibly be the only ones looking different, brings attention to just how unique they are and allows them to be a little bit more of their true selves, so to speak.
That's really valuable, indeed. Well, they say pictures are worth 1,000 words. I appreciate you sharing. Dawn, we always talk about giving people their flowers while they can still smell them, right? And celebrating, like you used that word too. So we got something special for you.
So we always give a $2 bill away, and we write "You Matter" on it. We got your name on the front, and your word, which was kind. The Bro Code Show, our team all signed it for you, and we just kind of want to give it to you and let you know the work you're doing matters. One thing that really stands out to me is we can tell you really care about what you're doing. So much so sometimes you're talking and the words don't come out. So that's amazing.
And we can feel that passion, right? Because we do the same work in the community every day, right? What we always say is a lifestyle, not a hobby, right? So indeed, this is an everyday grind, and sometimes you don't get the thank yous, and that's not why you do it. But you used another word, and my mentor always teaches me this too, is to celebrate progress. And we always talk to each other about being present. So in this moment, we want to take it to celebrate you.
Thank you.
So thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you do, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
In this special Love and Impact series, throughout the show, you will hear from the blonde bombshell herself, A. Ruth Proctor. We'll be right back on the Bro Code Show after a brief word from our sponsors. We all we got. Tonight's show is sponsored by Angel Oak Creative. The number one mission of Angel Oak Creative is to amplify the voice of nonprofit organizations through marketing, branding, digital design, and multimedia strategies, providing their clients with a proven strategy for success. Angel Oak Creative is currently celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Love and Impact. Angel Oak Creative has been blessed to partner with hundreds of nonprofit organizations who are changing the world by taking on difficult issues like homelessness, addiction, hunger, poverty, education, and also living with developmental disabilities and so much more.
So I'm A. Ruth Proctor here with the Bro Code and the Proctor Report. I am here at Rise Southeast Raleigh Charter School here with the chair. How are you doing, Ms. Kwan?
I am doing well.
It's so good to talk to you and to meet you at this establishment. So tell me, what brings this full circle with Southeast Raleigh? How did this come full circle? That's what I should say.
So we wanted to build something in the community.
Okay.
Charter schools, we pick where we want to land.
Okay.
And so we started this charter not only to support the community, to support the families here in the community.
Wow.
So we decided to come to this area and build from this area. So Rise has come out of what we felt was a need to establish and educate the children here in this community.
I love it. I love it. So what about this really hits home? Because I know that you being a board, being a part of the board, you know, I know you has its woes, its ups and downs.
That's right. That's right. So you said what?
So how does this hit home? You know, I know with you having your own children.
Yes.
How does this hit home? You know, being a chair over a charter.
Right. So I think the number one thing that hits me is when you drive in, you see the sign, and it opens up to what I feel is really the beginning of a child's day, of a family's day, of the beginning of pouring into a child. And so I am a mom of charter school young men. They graduated from a charter. So on my two hats, I know the value of building a school that meets a child's individual need, both personally and professionally. So I look at Rise as the start of something in this community. And so the entrance is always, it always gets me, because it ushers in everything that happens.
Right.
So.
I love it. So we're thinking about the evolution, you know, going from PAVE to now Rise Charter, Southeast Charter. You know, how was that evolution? How was that? You know, that name by itself is so powerful.
Yeah.
You know?
So when we came together with PAVE, and we started the whole process of building what is now Rise, I look at it as PAVE was definitely a solid foundation that with the management company and an already established school, that we were able to base the fundamental pieces of running the charter adequately and running it well. And then we, I'll say, rose, right?
Yes, I love it.
So we rose because what we found as a board is that the community looked different. So the PAVE foundation looks different from what our community looks. And so the change was that we rose, or we rise, and to meet the needs of where we are. And so that was hence the name change, because it was more of a community feel, and our partnership with PAVE just had run its course. And so we still have a board member from PAVE that helps us and guides us, but it was time for us to, and I keep using these, spread our wings, but that's the whole part of Rise. That's the whole part of it. So that's really the evolution. We started with them as a paving the foundation, and then we moved over to being Rise.
I love it. And you being a board chair. Ooh, that's a big hat.
That's a big hat.
The founding board chair. Well, the founding board member.
Correct.
That's big.
Correct.
That's big.
That's correct.
And being a female in that leadership space, that's amazing. Especially with all the doors we're breaking down right now. So, how was that being a founding member?
Well, you know, it's one of those things where myself, Kwan, right? I'm talking from Kwan.
Yes.
It's one of the things that you don't think you kind of step into, and you step up to the challenge. And so I'm honored to be from a founding board member that that we were on paper.
Wow.
We put everything together. We put our mission, our vision, everything that we wanted to do on paper. And then going through the application process and getting that okay and moving into the building and seeing the families. It has just been overwhelming.
Wow.
And I do see it as an honor to lead.
Yeah.
Our board is strong. We have a very diverse background as board members, and not only professional experience, but just personal experience of what they bring. So while I am honored to be board chair, I have a lot of support, and we work very well together as a board.
That's amazing. This is Avery Proctor here with the Proctor Report.
The Bros just got stronger. We've added a new member to the team, A. Ruth Proctor. The blonde bombshell herself will be hosting this new segment called the Proctor Report. This segment will share behind-the-scenes footage and engage questions from our listeners from a female point of view. Tap in to the Bro Code. Stay tuned for a new segment on the Bro Code show called The Rehash. You'll learn more about the bros personally and what drives them as men and community leaders. The Rehash will be available on YouTube and all audio podcast platforms every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tap in to the Bro Code. Go-getter.
Go-getter.
That's what you are. Look at me. That's what you are. This is our website. This is yours. Okay? Also,
grant me the courage to change the things that I can, and grant me the wisdom to know the difference, just for today. Amen. Away from me.
You close to the edge, just don't move. My brother said his lawyer just gave him some bad news. Police found the drugs that were stashed in the bathroom. Not only that, but his court date approaching us fast.
we are back sitting down with one of the founding members of Rise Southeast Raleigh Charter School, Kwan Graham. Kwan, tell us more about your role in the role you play here at Rise.
Okay. Well, I was one of the founding board members. I still am a board member, but I'm a founding board member. And the way a charter school is created is that you start with an application and you go through an application cycle. Mm-hmm. So I've sat on kind of both sides. I was on the Charter Board Advisory Board, where we approved or processed the applications. Mm-hmm. And then in my role of looking at being a part of a charter school, went through the process of Rise actually being on paper, getting approved, getting the building, parents coming in, and now we have Rise.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. And as leaders of a nonprofit ourselves, right, Y4C, Young Men for Christ, you know, watching a baby be birthed, that's almost how I can explain it, right? You know, from thought to fruition, right, to actually now being able to hold it and now transferring into impact.
Yes.
Yeah, so I definitely can understand that, being a founder of something bigger than yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, that's purpose-driven. I love it.
That's right.
I was listening to a podcast you were on not too long ago, and they referred to you as the vice president of WOO. I'm hoping you can tell us a little bit more about that, but get into your background. You know, what else do you do outside of Rise? And we'll go from there.
Yeah, so the WOO, so in my other hat, I'm the Director of Community Engagement. So Director of Community Engagement. My whole mission, my whole purpose of being at Parents for Educational Freedom is to support parents in their ability to choose the best educational option for their family. And so there are a number of educational options out there. And so walking parents, community leaders through supporting education as a whole, and understanding to have a conversation for one option is not to have a conversation against another. So Director of Community Engagement is engaging the community, and so I have been doing it now, I think, 11 years. So I think the WOO means that I'm still talking. I'm still encouraging, hopefully, in that role. So I've been with Parents for Educational Freedom for about 11 years now.
Thank you.
So to speak to the history of charter schools, 1974, it was proposed that charter schools would be a great alternative to public schools. It didn't come into fruition until 1992 in St. Paul, Minnesota, which was the first charter school. here we are some 30 years later,
Right.
sitting in the building of that type of school. Can you talk to us a little bit about just the history of what you know of charter schools and kind of why, I guess?
Yeah. I think the why is the bigger question, right? So the why do we have charter schools? Why was there a need for charter schools? And I think for me, the fundamental belief that every child is different, every child is unique, and every child learns differently. And so when you have educational systems or entities, schoolrooms that don't give the flexibility in teaching a child in the way the child can learn and grow. The charter school space came where communities, leaders in the community came together, and the charter school model allows that flexibility that you can build the classroom, support the teachers, support administration in the way that those families in your charter need to learn. So it's really the uniqueness of a charter that kind of birthed this whole need for educational options. And so in North Carolina, we had kind of a cap on charters. And then legislatively, we said, we want to grow this. There will never be, like I said, a need, there will never not be a need for your traditional district schools. They hold a special space in education. Charter schools, however, are allowed to go into a community and really target that community because we chose to put our charter here in this community. We chose to advertise to our families that if your child needs something different, if your child needs a little more flexibility in the classroom, we are here to meet the needs of that. The great thing about being a public school is that we are still accountable to the State Board of Education, like every other district traditional school. So charter schools still have the same accountability. We take the same standardized tests. We just have more flexibility in meeting each child that walks in the door that need, and that's what we are. That's what our challenge is.
That answer really resonates with me. I'm a father of 4 grown kids. So hindsight, now looking back at their education, all 4 of them learned totally different. Now one of them, I'm not going to say which one, because
Please don't.
they might watch this episode. One of them needed a charter school or an alternate option of schooling because they learned different. And so I can see that now, so I love what you're talking about.
Yeah, one of the things that really resonate, not just with us, but as you were talking, is a sense of being intentional.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And this was the word that I was trying to get to when Dawn was speaking, was engaging.
Yes.
Right? Like modeling a sense of, so that way the presentation, almost putting the medicine in the candy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's soothing, it's palatable, right? It can be chewed up, tasted, and then add nourishment to their body. So it seems to me, just listening to how you describe how charter schools solve and fill gaps, right? For not just an alternative method, but an intentional way, meaning that, again, all kids learn differently. So this is a space where that creativity or that different is appreciated.
Right. Yeah. And I think also with charters, Dawn talked about growth and measuring our success by growth. But growth is different. There are different ways to show growth. Yes, academically, but also show socially and emotionally. So I'm a mom, a charter school mom. I have 2 great African-American men now. Can't believe that. And they graduated from a charter. And so within that charter, both boys, they learn differently. They're complete opposites. But the charter was able to, within their journey, within that charter, target what they both needed, expose them to what they needed. So when they got to the college level, while they're totally different, one's an athlete, one's not, have them be competitive in that world of college and get through that, and they did well. But even within the charter, there are different engagement, there's different functions that have to be met for each child individually. So while they went to the same charter, both would tell you their journey in the charter was totally different.
So,
please. I wanted to kind of stick on the word engagement, more so to play on the role that you do outside of the board.
Sure.
How are you communicating now with the public, private sector, and or the families of the students in regards to either their options or the value that the charter school actually brings to them?
That's a great question. What we found now, and you can, we can lay this at the feet of COVID. You can just say where we are now in the world with our community and families. Parents are looking for assistance. Yeah. They're looking for support. And it's not always because of a socioeconomic need. Society, the way that our community is, the way our kids are growing with their peers, they need extra. And so a lot of my engagement comes from parents reaching out to me and us brainstorming and us talking about, tell me about your family, tell me about your oldest, tell me about your youngest. They start with, unfortunately, we have an issue. And we've got to back out and find a solution for this issue. Don't like to say problem. It's an issue. And so that has been the bulk of my work, working from an issue and talking with families through those issues with whatever the option is. Sometimes, even with the traditional public school, it's going back in and having the right questions to find the solution. And then on other ends, it has been finding another option.
I love it. Do you have another one? Man, I, as a founding member, right, we're talking about this being passion work, purpose work for you, right? You talked about the reflective representation, and so did Dawn talk about that, right? They'll be what they see. Previously known as PAVE. Yes. And I know it had to been, I don't want to say hard, but a challenge to say, man, how do we top that? And then you come up with the word rise. Right. And the motto now being rise up, rise together, rise above. So what does that look like 5 to 10 years from now, from your eyes?
From my eyes, wow. It's going back to what you said about a baby. And so there's these transitional moments when you have a child. And I speak from Zen and Mason's mom, right? I'm Zen and Mason's mom. So I look at their transitional years. So when you talk about PAVE, and the foundation that they gave us, the stable foundation of us going from PAVE and now we're rising, and it looks different now, right? It looks different. We have COVID, we're growing, we're changing, we're coming back in the building. My goal is that we see the success in 5 to 10 years of those students that were impacted can come back and speak well of us. Yeah. They can come back and speak well of, oh, I remember a teacher or an administrator that shifted or changed my life. I always tell my boys, not only do you have to be comfortable in your own skin to make an impact, you have to know and understand where you came and what lessons you grew from, right? So that success for me, and I believe the founding members, from paper to have a child or someone come back and say, here is specifically how you impacted my life. Whether it's 1, whether it's 10, we'd like all 426. But as they leave, to reflect back and say, this person or this time at Rise made a difference. I think for me will be success.
I love that. One of my mentors always says you can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apples in a seed.
Absolutely.
Just keep planting them.
Yeah.
You never know how far and tall how they'll grow.
That's right.
So in the work that we do, especially with youth, that's the way I teach or speak to our leadership team, man. We're just Johnny Appleseed. Like
that's
our job,
right.
We don't know who's gonna water it.
That's right.
But let's worry about the first thing first.
That's right.
Let's plant the seed.
Right.
My grandfather lived to be 101.
Oh,
and,
amazing.
He died last year. But that was one of the things that I picked up from him. Like, even in his old age, he was always willing to share information. In his own way. Yeah. But he was willing to put it out there. So, that's right. Kwan, we always talk about giving people their flowers while they're still here, right? And one of the words that Dawn used that I hear often is celebrate. So we want to do just that. We want to celebrate you. It's your turn. Oh. I
thought you was talking.
You want to celebrate you. You got to put that in the blooper reel. That's a great blooper reel. Yeah, I'm over it's my turn? Yeah.
So we want to. I'm ready. All right. We wanted to celebrate you. We have one of our bro code, You Matter, to our bills. We wrote your name on it and your word, which is calm. And during the interview, you actually pulled off calm and just You did. You gave off that vibe. So we really appreciate the work and what you guys are building, and just wanted to make sure we pass this on. Our whole team signed it, so this is yours.
Y'all are gonna make me cry.
Oh, come on now.
Thank you
And
so
just
much.
like that $2 bill, you're unique, you're rare.
Thank you.
We just wanted to, again, give you your flowers, a token of appreciation, just to say thank you for
so
all
much.
that you do.
This
And we
means a
appreciate
lot.
you.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much. I
absolutely.
appreciate
Yeah, we
that.
different on the Bro Code
I
show,
appreciate
right?
that. I appreciate that.
Indeed.
Thank
Tell
you
a
so
friend
much.
to tell a friend. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Indeed, right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, indeed. So we always end the show on a positive note. Tonight is no different, and rightfully so. This quote comes from a thinker, Mr. Albert Einstein. He says, "Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think." It's your boy, Bro Troy.
Bro Smith.
And Bro Kurt.
And we are the
Bro Code.
Yo, another one. Yeah, indeed.
This is Aru Proctor here with the Proctor Report, and I'm here with an amazing mom for the Rise Charter, Southeast Charter School, Miss Skylisha. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine.
It's so amazing to have you here with us. Thank you for sharing your story. So tell me, how has Rise supported you as a mom during the pandemic?
I would say the main thing is just keeping me informed with everything that's going on with my child. They have a Talking Points app, so they'll send me notifications throughout the day, weekly parent-teacher conferences, just definitely being there for everything, letting me know what's going on. My favorite thing I would say is that they just had their first annual spelling bee.
Okay.
And my son was actually able to be a part of the final round, so I was so excited.
I know that's right. Especially being in the house for the last 2 years and then really getting back into the school. How has that been, that transition?
It was hard at first, especially with him. This is his first year actually being in school. He's in kindergarten, so it was really hard, the whole mask thing, the whole COVID and quarantining, and it was just really hard. I know his absences didn't count against him, you know, being quarantined, but it was really hard just keeping him home. I mean, again, the school has been very supportive. It's sending his homework home, just being really there. And his teacher always kept in contact with me, even when he was quarantined. He didn't actually have it, but just happened to be home and everything. But now they're actually back in school. He loves it. He loves his teacher. He loves being in class. He loves interacting with his fellow classmates. So it's amazing. It was rocky at first, but it's amazing now.
I love it. I love it. So how have you been able to transition as a mom being in COVID? You know, really having to teach our kids and, you know, really all of that. How were you able to just maintain and, you know, stay sane?
One thing for me is that I'm working from home now.
Okay.
I started going back into the office a couple of days out the week, but being home with my children really helped as well. Just that one-on-one support. I mean, he had the support while he was in school as well, but then with him being home, even when he got out of school, just helping him with his homework, reading with him every night.
Right.
All of that has definitely helped support him as well too.
I love it. I love it. Anything you would say as far as being a mom in this space and, you know, being back in the school that you would give encouragement to other moms?
I would say, you know, definitely just make that effort. Be there for your kids. Your kids need us. I mean, they need us. At the end of the day, we're all that they got.
Right.
So definitely just make that effort to be in your kids' life, whether it's reading every night, whether it's telling them a story, whether it's saying I love you, just little things that matter. Just definitely be there for them.
I love it. This is Avery Proctor here with the Proctor Report.
If they can't see you making the way, city lights, what up? He's preparing the way. City lights, what up? How could you live for tomorrow if you ain't promised today? Or could you walk on water if you don't stand on faith? It's like I'm going through circles, I'm in that same old place.
Tonight's show is sponsored by Angel Oak Creative. The #1 mission of Angel Oak Creative is to amplify the voice of nonprofit organizations through marketing, branding, digital design, and multimedia strategies, providing their clients with a proven strategy for success. Angel Oak Creative is currently celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Love and Impact. Angel Oak Creative has been blessed to partner with hundreds of nonprofit organizations who are changing the world by taking on difficult issues like homelessness, addiction, hunger, poverty, education, and also living with developmental disabilities and so